Okay, we're live. What's up, guys? Welcome back. Another Friday night interview. Oh, man, I am excited for this one. Alex, dude, welcome. Great to meet you.
Thanks, Ryan. Nice to meet you, too. I'm doing good. Yeah. It's my usual Friday night of staying home.
Yeah, for sure, man. Man, I'm so excited to chat tonight about a handful of things. Definitely, obviously, I want to chat about the Topps card. The Acuna is, I think, stolen the show for the set so far, which is great. It's fun to see too because this is my second time around. Well, actually, it's my third time around with Topps, but it's my second group set like this in this format. And so last year there was a card. Did you follow any of last year's set at all? I know you're not.
I actually wasn't aware of it until about almost the end of it. So then once I got kind of wind of it, I went back and dug through as much as I could, and I was just like, "This is so nice." Rad.
Yeah. So what I think what we're seeing with your card is it was impacted by, and also it reminds me of when the Ermsey Trout card came out last year, which was pretty early in the set. That was card 4, I think.
Oh wow.
But it was. Have you seen any of Ermsey's work?
I was familiar with him.
Okay, great.
Yeah, he's great.
Figure. I mean, it seems like I don't know. Your guys' work is both phenomenal, and kind of reminds me of each other in weird ways. But when that card first came out, there were I think a big part of the card community really embraced it and loved it. They're like, "This is the coolest baseball card ever," right? Because it was just so different and wild, and so is yours. And then there were some people, the purists, that just wanted the photograph, and they're like, "I don't, this is not a baseball card, whatever." And it was kind of polarizing in that way. But then as soon as the PR came out, and then prices on eBay started going up. And at the time too, it was the highest print run card of the set. And people thought that was a crazy high print run. And for context, that one did 2,700 cards and yours did 14,000. So you crushed.
So crazy.
It's amazing, man. But I think it's great. And so now, when collectors look back at Project 2020, there's a few kind of iconic cards that oftentimes, whether it's being talked about in the press, they're always kind of showing some, a few kind of key cards, and the Ermsey is one of them. And I think that your card is going to be one of those type of cards for Project 2020 or Project 70, which is such a cool thing.
It's so wild because I was genuinely nervous that I was going to just piss everybody off because when I took on the project, one of the things that I always say, I stream every once in a while and I try to be as engaging as I can. And I'm a pretty open book, but one of the things that I often say is that is on my do not draw list is anything sports related, because it's so far from what I do. And it's the way that I create and the way that I draw is not so much drawing what's in my mind, but more so kind of scribbling until something comes out and then I make it into something. So a lot of the times when I have client jobs, it's really difficult for me. And especially, I always say if you want me to draw you a football player, I'm not going to do it. And I say that all the time.
Sure.
And then when this opportunity came up, I was just oh shit. I can't not, I was at first I was just my stomach felt and I was just I really want to do this, but I don't think I can. And then I was all right, I'm going to throw myself into it. I'm just going to do it, whatever. But I also didn't really want to compromise. I didn't want to just be okay, I'm just gonna do
style or something.
Full classic cards. I want to try to inject what I do into it and see if it works. And I was super nervous to even kind of pitch my pitch to Topps, because I was just is this just, I was it's not, I'm not just being disrespectful, because I really understand that the baseball fans are very hey, these players are close to their heart and these collectors and everything and I want to respect that, but I also was just I want to go crazy. So I kind of pitched this idea to Topps of kind of monsterizing these sports, these athletes, and they were just super supportive. They were just this is great, go for it. And I was just all right, I'll do it and we'll see what happens.
Yeah. I mean, it's wild. I think it's pretty cool. The same way for me, I have sometimes an easier time painting just for myself, just whatever comes out, than fitting within a box of client specs, right? And it's been really refreshing for the last year now working with Topps, where there's only there were only 2 times ever that I had to make small adjustments to my card, and it wasn't because of Topps. It was just because of MLB and licensing stuff.
Right.
But outside of that, they've given us like complete total freedom. Even like last year, so Ben Baller, one of the other artists, he and I had the first like collab card last year where
nice.
It was my Trout release, and then he kind of added his bling to it.
Right.
And that was totally like something that I brought to Topps and was like, hey, I talked to Ben, this is a cool idea, but I have no idea if you're going to let us do it. And they're like, yeah, that sounds awesome. So it's been, it's really cool to see that they're just, embracing artists like yourself that are just not what most baseball card collectors would expect, but it also at the same time is like, it's refreshing to see something new. That card was just amazing. When I saw it, I was like, yeah, I have to buy it. I just got a shipping notification today. I bought, I bought a 5-pack because I really wanted a foil, but man, with 14,000, it's going to be hard to afford.
That's nice.
Yeah. So
I feel like there's a little bit of pressure now that I'm like, the rest of mine are definitely going to be weird, but we'll see. I feel like every card is just going to be like me being nervous, being like, is this one going to make people weirded out? I don't know.
Yeah. So the other thing that I saw happen last year, that we all saw happen last year, is like, so there were only 20 artists, and so for the first 20 cards, you'd only seen one piece of art from each artist. And so without any further context of that artist's collection that the set's going to become, people didn't understand the project. And it wasn't really until card number 21 and beyond when people started releasing their second cards, and then people see like 2 of them next to each other, like, okay, you know what, I get this. And I think that, you have such an amazing body of work, and I just know that like your cards are all going to crush. So there's definitely I don't think there's any pressure, at all, like on you. I think that
my next one's equally as weird. I mean, my next one's actually weirder. So.
Yeah. I'm actually curious. What, do you know your drop date?
They told me the 25th for the second one. I'm sure that's fine that I say that. I don't think I.
Yeah. So from my perspective, what Topps told me is like, we're allowed to tell our drop dates. And once we have our dates and players, it's kind of up to us how much we want to share in advance. So actually like this,
I was going to ask you about that.
Yeah. So this is actually my 4th card.
Oh,
so
wow.
People aren't going to see that for a long time printed, but I did that live on Wednesday night. Wednesdays, I try and actually like paint and show people the process.
Dude, I love it. You're painting so big. That's great.
Thanks, man. Yeah, I did. So the first set, I did paintings that were 18 by 24, and these ones are 30 by 40,
awesome.
Which is really cool. And also now, like, I have this big wall in my house, and I'm just slowly putting up all the originals, and it's going to be so sick when that wall.
Are you using like your spray paint and stuff in the house?
Yeah. So we have like an industrial fan in the window back there, and we'll basically just turn that on. We wear our masks and crank that. But yeah, we're spray painting in here.
Love it.
Let's see. How about for your next card? Maybe don't tell us the player, but can you tell us the team or any like, I don't know, or even like active players?
I can say it's a West Coaster.
Okay, that's great. We'll take it. I love it.
Right.
West Coast.
I'm from. This isn't a hint, but I am from the Bay, so there's going to be a few Bay Areas players sprinkled throughout.
Where in the Bay?
I grew up in Antioch, which is kind of close to Oakland. So
yeah, I grew up in Marin.
Oh, you did? Okay, cool. I've lived everywhere. So I lived in Antioch. I lived in Walnut Creek. I lived in Sacramento. I lived in Santa Fe. I lived in Rohnert Park. I lived in Novato. I lived back in Walnut Creek. I'm in
Novato. Oh, my parents are in Novato.
That's nice. I had an awesome studio in Novato. I had a really, really cool studio and retail store and warehouse in Oakland for a long time, and then moved over to Florida and became witness protection program.
Yeah. So I just wanted to highlight this comment real quick. So, there's a kid, Blake G. He has his own basically YouTube and Instagram show called The Daily Blake Down. I love it because we share the name. So his dad reached out to me a while ago, just say, hey, Blake reviewed your card and, check it out. So we've become friends. Blake and Austin are awesome. Austin is collecting your cards. So he just wanted to say what's up.
Awesome. Blake.
Yeah.
Wait, which one is the younger one? Blake?
Blake is the younger one. And
oh,
Austin is the
awesome.
older
Hi, Blake.
one. Yeah. So they're great.
Thank you.
They're both super nice.
Unless it's a terrible review, then if it's a negative review, then we'll have some words. But
you know what's so funny is
like
so he's 9-10 years old, and he's just he's brutally honest, which I think, and also like kids see different stuff than adults. So like he'll be looking at the card,
I'm gonna write that down. I want to check it out.
Yeah, and I'll send you a link to their stuff. But
okay, cool.
They're great. And also Blake and Austin, I'm sorry that it hasn't come yet, but I have a care package coming your way. The way that I build care packages for fans like you guys is I put 2 or 1 box, because it's being shipped together, open with your name on it, and then every time I find something cool, I just keep putting it in. And when the box gets full, then I'm gonna seal it up and send it to you guys. So it's like half full right now. It'll probably go out in about a week.
That's so fun.
I also saw another question from much earlier. It was from those back pages asked if you know who Ryan Otley is.
He's a comic book artist. He's awesome.
Okay. Cool.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, I imagine like I've watched some of your content, so I know that you are, inspired by some comic characters. Who are some of your like favorite comic book artists, or even just artists in general? Like who do you...
So, I mean, comic books did have obviously a huge influence on me, especially when I was younger. One of my like top 2 or 3 influences of anything in the world is a comic book called The Max from Sam Keith.
Okay.
And that will like forever be embedded in me, as far as like, that was the first time that I saw a comic that was disguised as a superhero comic, but actually encapsulated a lot of like characters that were dealing with like real problems with, like mental trauma and depression but it was like all packaged in this like weird spiritual superhero comic, and the art style was all over the place. The art style was just like some of it was really detailed, and some of it looked like a kid's drawing, and some of it splattered outside of the frames, and I just like, up until that point, I would just kind of like, with the exception of Todd McFarlane, everything seemed to kind of stick within a box, right? And kind of like go within a mold. And so when I saw The Max, that was just like, oh, you can be weird. Cool.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Dude, I love it. And it sounds like, so when you started drawing at first, like copying other artists' work, which I think like everybody does. Like I did the same thing. Once I started getting into painting, I'm like, okay, I want to try and remake a Shepherd Fairy painting. Okay, I want to try to do like a Warhol. Yeah. And some of like my favorite artists and icons kind of in pop art. And if I understand, so at first you did like your first show and you priced your work really low, but it sold out. And I think your first few shows, right?
Yeah, I mean, like I still don't know. I don't think there's a roadmap to, everybody has kind of like a different map. There's not really a set rule book for what we do.
Yeah.
And it, especially in the mid to late 90s, early 2000s, one of my first shows. Yeah. Like my goal was like, I grew up very recluse and very like just really private. And one of the reasons why I got into art was because the ability to be private and do it, Mm-hmm. And so when the opportunity came to even publicly display art of mine, it was kind of just like, oh, so somebody's asking me to do this. Like, okay, yeah, I just want everybody to have art. So It was like, I'll just price it at, $20, $30 and maybe you'll buy it. And, and then it sold out. And then I was just like, oh, okay, I can say I had a sold out show. Like that's cool.
That is cool.
So then it kind of kept
very cool. What's funny that you mentioned is that you kind of got into art because it is private. But I feel like something that, in my mind, what separates you from a lot of other very talented artists is you really do embrace like online media a lot and do like a really good job showing your process, like just everything. I just think that like that's a missing component for a lot of artists, where like there's some people that are just so talented, but if it's just the internet's not for them or whatever, it's fine. But it's just really hard to grow your brand, in today's age.
Tough. It's tough, and it definitely isn't for everybody. And it wasn't for me for the longest time. But there was a point that I personally had to make, where I was just like, you know, I got into art because it was private and I liked that aspect of it, but I was only getting to a certain point by being so reclusive. And I remember like the first magazine interview I did asked for like a headshot, and I was just like, why do you need a headshot? Like it's just art. Like, why do you need this? Right. And I was like angry about it. And then I slowly kind of accepted that more and more people want, like, times change, right? From, you know, from being so detached from things. Like when we were kids, if you wanted to reach somebody that you liked, you had to physically find a fan mail address and write it, and who knows, whatever. And then the more the internet became available, the more things got accessible. It was more like, okay, if I allow myself to be accessible, then it's not only beneficial for me, but like I'm then also opening up myself to more inspiration and more lessons and more learning from other people as well.
Right.
So it just like, I was like, okay, like no matter how comfortable I am or not, I'm just going to like be open.
Yeah. Yeah. And speaking of like technology and times changing, and this is again, like a great example of, I think like you're just, you're on the forefront of the tech and like the NFT space, which is fascinating to me. And yeah, I mean, it's just like, I would have, even like a year ago, if someone had explained to me what an NFT was and how big of a deal it could be, I wouldn't have believed them.
Yeah, I mean, I did get it explained to me a year ago, and I just like, no, like I was just like, no, I don't know. Like, I mean, you've been in it probably for a little while though, right? Like, yeah,
I think like I've probably been on Super Rare for about 6 months.
Okay.
But really, like, I mean, I haven't really been focusing on it at all in or like in any like meaningful amount of time consistently until like the last 2 weeks to a month. Yeah. I just, at first I kind of like threw stuff up there, and the first things I minted, I was afraid that I was going to mint like a piece that I really liked, and then it was going to get an offer and I would accept it. And then like I would be like later down the road, be like, why did I sell that piece at the beginning? So I intentionally listed I just put kind of some obscure different stuff and just trying to see what people respond to. And once I started to see like a little bit of success, you know, sold my first piece, like, you know, I'm selling a JPEG at the end, kind of.
Don't sell yourself short. No, you're not.
I know. No, I know that. Like, the thing is like,
you're selling you.
I know that. But like, people can just look at that picture of my art on Instagram, you know.
Yeah, but I think that not to step on your feet a little bit, but
no, good.
That is such an odd misconception it's the easiest. So it's the biggest obstacle to why people aren't understanding it, right? It's right. Because they're focused on the fact that
anybody can see the picture.
They can see that they're looking at it as the only thing that's going on is that you're buying a JPEG that you can see otherwise. But like, that's such a small part of it. And it might not be a small part of it at this moment, but it's such a small part of it down the line, depending on what happens in the future. Right. And I think that anybody that is collecting an NFT or at this point, anybody that's investing in an NFT at this point is investing in a belief that in the future, digital ownership will be something that is a more, you know, accessible thing and a more digestible thing. So right now, the easiest way to like blow it off is just to be like, oh, you're buying a JPEG? That's stupid.
Sure.
But, you know, it's kind of like, it's not any more stupid than buying a stock in a company that just starts that you're believing in.
That's actually a great, that's great. I like that. Yeah, I think it's the future. I think it definitely has a place in the future of art and collectibles. Like one of the applications I think I'll probably start using it for this year is all certificates of authenticity for my works will just be NFTs instead of physical, because I used to just mail people like, you know, a piece of paper. Right. It's easy to lose or, you know, or whatever. And so that's fascinating. And then also like, you know, some of the platforms offer unlockable content, which I think is also cool. So like one of the thoughts is, okay, maybe I sell because I film everything that I make for the most part. And then I have a video editor that'll make like a little highlight reel or time lapse or whatever. And so maybe like I was thinking of, the JPEG is what people are buying, but the unlockable content is the video of the creation process. And they get to choose if they want to share that with other people or not. Right. But they can kind of enjoy it. And then they feel, you know, I guess that made me that makes me feel like I can rationalize selling pieces for a lot of money. The other thing is like the physical tie-in that I've seen that's really cool, where, you know, if people own an NFT, then they might get mailed something physical. I think that's going to help crossover people that are like, you know, because I know a lot of people that are like, I just like physical goods. That doesn't appeal to me.
Yeah, there's an interesting. So I basically came into this very blindly, like naively, blindly, just like what's going to happen, what's going to, you know, and trying to understand it and trying to just like wrap my head around it. And I went in, and the first few pieces that I minted, I did like physical time. Like I was like, get this, and then like you can get this like one of a kind hand embellished print that's never been released. It's a one of one, whatever. And the 3 out of 3 times, the person that bought the NFT said, I don't want that, keep it. And so that was when I learned at that point that the current audience, the investing and the collecting audience, is already so far ahead of me, right? Like they're whatever they're doing, they're on their own kind of ahead of thing. But at the same time, I still feel like I want to offer that kind of stuff, because what you were saying is it's a hype item to bring the crossover audience into it that might not be accepting of just the digital.
Sure. Yeah, I mean, it's been a wild ride just watching it all happen. And I think like another thing that I feel like I benefited and learned from Project 2020 is in the beginning of the project, there weren't a lot of people that knew what it was. And then, so the print runs were not that high, but then more and more, and then all of a sudden it started to take off and more people found out about it. And then all of a sudden those cards with low print runs on eBay just started going nuts. Like there was a time where, you know, like I was just watching some like archive footage, and we're talking about how my, what was it? My Jackie Robinson card, which was my 3rd card, I think, which had like just come out at the time. And it was like $20, you know, like anyone can buy it. And then it was like, you know, a week after it ended, and this was like peak kind of bubble, but like it was up to like $300-$350 for just like a plain regular card. That's and awesome. Like, and they were moving, and there was a lot of units changing hands. And so I didn't sell. I have a ton of my own cards, and I didn't sell anything during the bubble, because I also like, I'm very bullish on my own career. And so I'm like, that's still not high enough, you know, like this is going to be priceless one day or whatever. But I feel like I got to see that, but also like at the time, I didn't know I was like, I had the blinders on, and I was like, we're only going up. This is going to the moon. Like I'm going to be a millionaire, right? Or whatever. Right. Which isn't my motivation, but like I was convinced like the project was just going to keep going up. And then Memorial Day hit. We had some really high print runs. Keith Shore did 100 or 99,000, and so many people bought it because they had seen everybody flip cards. So they're like, I'm going to spend $20. I'm going to sell it for $50 tomorrow and, you know, make money. That happened, and like nobody wanted to buy that card on the secondary market, because literally like everybody that wanted the card bought it already on Tops. Right. And then kind of everything came crashing down, which I feel like I'm partially responsible for it. I was pumping the hype train. I was like, all aboard, get the cards, like buy every card, pick up the autos. And so I apologize to the fans for anybody that got holding the bag. But I do think, and something that I was like preaching even back then, is like for the people that only bought retail on Tops, they never those people did not lose money ever. Yeah. If they just did that consistently. The people that lost money are people that were spending hundreds of dollars, like $300 on my base Jackie Robinson card on eBay. They spent $300 for what is probably a $50 or $100 card now, which sucks, but is what it is. But I can see kind of that thing happening in NFTs, where there's a lot of other artists that are just like, this is everything. This is going up forever. I feel like it is a bubble that will come back down to planet Earth at some point. I do think like there'll be sales. And at the end of the day, whether or not I sell my art digitally for 1 Ethereum or 10 Ethereum, that's still an Ethereum I didn't have before and helps pay my bills. So like, it's okay with me, but
no, I agree. I think that just like anything, when it's new, it'll especially something like this that is so fast. I mean, the internet spreads things so quickly now. So, you know, you're rushing to like this little micro gold rush or perceived gold rush, I guess, because nobody even really knows if these things are going to be valuable. But yeah, it's exciting., and I do think that it probably will even out. But I think that also, even if people get like, bored of it or whatever, like the technology and what has been created, the tools that it's kind of embedded within it are so useful for so many things down the road. And especially once more marketplaces get curated into like, there'll be an NFT site specifically for baseball art. There'll be an NFT site specifically for, horror photography. Like once they're more kind of curated and more people can find their audience within it, it's just a whole nother aspect of selling art,
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, it's wild. And like I said, like I just had no idea. I've always, I guess for a little bit of context, I didn't study art and I didn't decide to like paint full time until I was 30, and I'm 36 now. So my background before that was in like digital marketing. And so also like very comfortable with the social platforms, always known that that's like a key component. But I'm fascinated by like the business side of every artist's business. And like, I'm all for like artists getting more different diversified streams of income. And like,
yeah,
it's inspiring, honestly, to see like what you've done already with the NFT stuff. I mean, you've had some really big sales, which is crazy.
Yeah. It's beyond me, but I do think that, the other thing too, that I've been kind of like meeting with almost every friend that I have about this, like whether they're asking me kind of like, oh, how do I get started? Or if I'm kind of reaching out to be like, what's the etiquette or what's this, and like, it's just pretty wild. But one of the things that I've been telling people is that like, and I don't know if you had the same experience, but I found out very, very quickly that my crossover audience isn't there, right? It's like I share stuff that I'm doing on social, like, but there's maybe 1% of my entire audience that actually at the time when I started was like open to going over there and diving in and checking it out. So I had to go in and basically start my art career over in a sense in a different market. I mean, I was going into the Discord channels and I was introducing myself and I was saying, hey, I've been doing art for a bunch of years and here's some of my stuff, check it out. And then I was liking other people's stuff and I was like trying to like, just trying to navigate and become part of the community. And I think that is a slow process of building an audience in a new thing, just like when you're starting any kind of creative career or any kind of new job, I guess, or whatever. And like, I think that's kind of that's a thing that maybe I'm wrong at viewing it like this, but I think that some artists that have had a certain amount of success are going to expect a crossover success immediately.
Sure.
And I think that if that doesn't happen, I hope people don't get discouraged because the space is cool, but I can see kind of it dividing people of like, I tried it, it's a scam because it didn't work. And why wouldn't it work? I have 500,000 followers,
Yeah, totally. It's also, so you're on Super Rare and one other one.
I started on Maker's Place about 5 or 6 months ago. It was my first place. And then I just got onboarded at Super Rare last week.
Nice.
So that was exciting for me because
that is insane to me that so I have like just a artist to artist question. So I saw you did a piece that was, let's see, Alex, here we go. Okay. So current mood, right? Your first one. I love this 24 frame hand drawn animated. Amazing. It's great. It's like mesmerizing. And so let's see here. So you did, 8 days ago, 888 won the auction for a bid of 8 and change Ethereum, which is a lot of money for anybody that knows what Ethereum is, right? That's great. So was it, okay, so Joey, I'm just going back a little farther. So Joey met the reserve price. So you had a reserve at 2 Ethereum. And then once that started, then that triggers a 24-hour auction. Are both of your pieces like that?
Both of the ones on Super Rare. I'm trying to navigate. So like I was saying, I kind of came in with no plan 6 months ago. Yeah. But I really want to kind of utilize the different marketplaces by kind of trying to focus and curate myself a little bit different. So my Maker's Place stuff is more of like my experimental digital stuff. And then I was thinking with Super Rare, it could be more kind of maybe hand-drawn traditional, whether I'm focusing on animation or something that I'm doing more, because they're only doing one of ones. You can't do edition stuff. And then, if I go to another marketplace, I tried out Foundation. I wanted to put something on there that was slightly different than the other two that I'm doing. And then in the background, I'm also in the works on trying a few different like long-term projects down the road for, once again, kind of like putting faith in the fact that there will be more accessible technology in just a couple months, right? Like more easily to navigate things. Like you were already talking about, like certain sites, like I think Foundation does like unlockables and certain things like that. So knowing that these sites are probably all going to incorporate a lot more customization within the releases, I'm kind of trying to plan for that down the road.
Right. To have, I love that. So that's really interesting to me, because I have done, when I've listed all of my pieces, I don't put them up as like a timed auction or with any reserve. I just like put them up, right? And then people can bid, and then, I could accept, or I can just wait. And then it's just so other people know too. So the people that bid in super rare might take a look at one of me or Alex's work and say, hey, I'll give you X amount of dollars, which is actually spent in Ethereum online. And then basically super rare takes that, or MetaMask actually, which is like the wallet, takes that money and puts it into an escrow essentially. And then during that time, I get to decide whether or not I'm going to take that bid or not. Then somebody else might come along and say, okay, I'll bid a little bit more. Then that escrow from the first person goes back to them. And then we have a new high bidder. But the bidders can also retract their bids before it's, before I've accepted it. And so I've had a few times where I get an offer and then I'm all excited and then it gets retracted. And I get that, because I'm also like, I'm bidding and buying other people's NFTs. And if I get low on Ethereum, I'll just go to my open bids and just like cancel the oldest ones, because I'm like, well, these guys aren't going to take it. I've also like had left bids where it's like, I just forgot about it for a long time. And then finally someone accepts it and I'm like, oh, okay, that's cool. But anyway, like I've done it just that way. So I've never had a reserve. I've never done a timed auction. And I've sold, I don't know, a half a dozen pieces for on average, like 1 Ethereum each or something like that. So it's nothing, nothing crazy, but also, that's.
But it's also the long game, right? Like you're getting into it now. You're selling, if you sell 10 pieces, and then the way that it works with the smart contracts in place, 10 years down the road, if those get flipped for $100,000, that's wishful thinking, but still, it's not impossible.
Have any of your pieces had a secondary sale yet to kick in?
I have about 5 of them, I think, or so.
Wow, that's awesome.
Yeah.
I'm really excited to see. I feel like, I think that I guess my mentality is kind of like your mentality when you started painting, of like, I just want to get art to everybody. I'm the same. I feel the same way with NFTs. I'm like, I just want to get my NFTs out there, because
I do. I think that I came into it. I had a friend of mine, Frankie Aguilar, and he works directly on the blockchain, and he's been the one that's been kind of trying to explain it to me for over a year, and I couldn't grasp it. But every once in a while some things seep in, and one of the things that I was under the assumption of when I came in was that rarity is a huge key in this. So I was like, I have this big body of work that already exists that I could easily just throw up on there, but also I really wanted to go in and be like, what isn't available before, like what hasn't been available, or what isn't, or what can I offer in a different way that you can't get it this way. So I kind of was like limiting myself to that, and treating them like original, like treating them like pricing them like paintings, like just trying it out, because on my end, or on an artist end, there's not a lot of risk aside from the fees, which can be pretty astronomical depending on prices. But, if I'm out a few $100s because I took a gamble, it's not the end of the world. It's not great, but it's not like the end of the world. So I set a couple of prices, just also because I'm not a very confrontational person. Sure. And the idea of somebody offering like $100 for me and me going, not accepted.
Right.
Like, that like terrified me of being like, then I would just like DM them and be like, I'm really sorry. Like, I didn't mean to like not accept your offer. And so I was just like, if I have a reserve price on it, I could just kind of just like close my eyes and walk away. But then also the fun thing about triggering the auction is that is where I pop in. Like, I'm just like, all right, we're on this hype train now. Let's go. I have a time deadline. Like, I got to tell people about it. I got to like go into that mode. And, you know, where if there's not a time limit, I feel like my energy would be less, you know?
Yeah. It's awesome. Okay. We had a question from Zach Stone, which we kind of alluded to, but we didn't explain. So Zach asked if the artists get a cut off the secondary sales. Curious. So the answer is yes. Mm-hmm. That's I think one of the biggest benefits of an artist using NFTs is because, you know, we'll get paid for the sale price when it sells, but then every time it changes hands down the road, whether it's in a week, a day, a year, a decade, we will get I think it's 10% royalty.
Most of the marketplaces are embedded with 10%, I believe, but you can customize it. You know, like, I mean, not on certain ones, but I think that like if you know how to write code in the blockchain, if you know how to work directly on the blockchain, you can write your own contracts. You can do all this stuff. Like there's a really, really like exciting just amount of customization and amount of intricacies that you can do. Mm-hmm. And you know, I don't know if I'll ever understand to like read the matrix that I'm looking at when I look at blockchain stuff, but the thought that it's there and that somebody in the world can read all that and adjust it is pretty cool.
Yeah.
But yeah, the royalty is really exciting. And also I think I think this is something more that like will take place in the future, but the possibility of splitting those royalties as well, you know, like collaborating with somebody and then having those royalties go to two people or go to a charity and something else. So you can, you know, like donate some of this. And like, that's pretty exciting. Because if you can team up with like a charity and then do a print and then they get a cut forever, you're like, you're like, it's cool. I helped somebody.
Yeah. That's a good point. Yeah. I hadn't thought about like splitting that royalty. I wonder how it works. I mean, I've seen like a lot of collaborations with artists, and I don't know how that works with like, does just one artist, gets paid just to one artist's wallet, and then they just like transfer the money to the half of it to another artist or something? Like
that would be a lifetime of paperwork. So that seems insane. But like, I mean, it might be the way that people are doing it, but I know that some of the bigger marketplaces, Super Rare, Maker's Place, like I think like if you work directly with them, I think that they have the ability on their end to
like split it,
code it in, but it's not something that's easy to do. So I don't think they let anybody do it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Okay. Yes. It's such a fascinating space. I'm very bullish on it, especially in the short term. And I'm trying, like, you know, I know a lot of artists, both within Tops and otherwise, that I'm encouraging just to like get their feet wet. Cause like you said, like it's really low risk. You know, at the end of the day, it does cost some money to create an NFT with your art, which is called minting. The price varies, and I don't know. I'm spending, I feel like on average, $100 a piece to list. Is that?
Yeah. I would say so. Like I put one up today that was, well, the other thing that I think that this differs between marketplaces as well, but different marketplaces have different fees, but for the most part, this is something that totally caught me off guard when I was figuring it out, is that every single transaction on the blockchain has a fee. So not just like on eBay where you put something up and it has a listing fee. It has a fee when you upload it. It has a fee when you set a price. It has a fee when you launch an auction. It has a fee when you accept a bid. It has a fee when you change ownership. Like every single thing has a fee. So like there's, you know, like you'll look at something that's an addition of 10 and you'll be like, why is that $400? And it's like, it might have cost the person $300 and something to put it up. You know?
Right. Right. Yeah, absolutely. And it's crazy. Like, cause sometimes I'll go to mint something and then the gas fees are just like really high. And I'm like, okay, I'll just wait. I'll try this again later.
Yeah. I don't know if they're going down anytime soon. When I first started, they were going up and down, and now they're just like,
yeah. When I first started on Super Rare, it was like $30.
Yeah, totally.
Yeah. But whatever. It's still totally worth it. And it's also cool. Like I started, you know, I put I think I put $500 into my Ethereum wallet. And then like, I've just, you know, then I use that to list a few pieces, sell a piece, then I get refilled. So like it's been self-fulfilling. I haven't pulled any money out, and I'm slowly stacking more and more Ethereum. And it's also crazy. So I didn't really anticipate or mean for this to go so heavy but I think it's good because
it's what's going on now.
It is. And I think like these I think that I get that some card collectors will say, I just want physical cards. It's not for me. And that might be true. But I think that as we see it, the whole system and technology kind of come together and show its true potential. I think more and more people are going to come into the space, and like people watching this, like you guys, you card collectors, this will be a very important part of the future, I think, of collectibles.
Dude, you want to know something that really sold me on the idea of NFTs when I was having my kind of like enlightening with myself moment of acceptance, because I'm 45, so this was very hard for me to grasp.
Okay.
But so a good example or a good story is when I was moving from California to Florida, I had a public storage unit where I had all of my toys and books and everything that I'd been collecting for forever, right? Star Wars toys, Spawn toy, whatever I had, comic books. And I figured out when we were doing the expenses of moving that it was going to cost me $1 per pound to move everything across the country. So all of a sudden, like if I had this whole storage unit, was like, 2 tons of stuff. I was like, that's an extra $4,000. Like I can't afford that. So what I ended up doing was I just basically took a photo of everything that I had and then just gave everything away to charities. And
that's that's the OG NFT. You made your own.
And so I have this folder in my phone that has basically my childhood in it. And I get just as much satisfaction from looking at those pictures than I did from looking at going into my storage and digging it out, and so, because I know that it was part of me and I know that it was mine. So when I made that connection, I was like, okay, I can see how this can work in a world where all the art that I've collected, both from my friends and that I've invested in, that I've bought at art shows, is in flat files. I don't even see it anyway.
Yeah. I mean, same. I have so much art in flat files back that direction.
So if I had all that available in a wallet, and I could and I'm talking future talk right now. I'm not trying to sell anybody on this, but in 5 years from now, if I walk into a cool hotel room that has nothing but video screens all over it, all empty, and I could just take my phone and flip some art and redecorate the room, I'd be like, that's cool.
Yeah.
Some Ready Player One stuff. It's weird.
Yes, it's totally. Are you following the Sandbox game at all?
No, what's that?
So it is basically do you know Minecraft? You familiar with that? Okay, so think of Minecraft on the blockchain.
Oh wow.
And it's I spent half an Ethereum on a plot of land.
You could buy virtual land and
stuff. I can buy it. So I bought some virtual land, and now I want to try and build it so it's replicating this studio, so people can kind of come in. And it's very it has tons of NFT tie-ins. So I could have somebody could come to my land, come to my space, go to my studio, see a piece of art on the wall, click it, pop up, get a bunch of data on it, and even potentially buy the NFT, right? And then they could take that picture and then they could put it in their house
when they have a house on Decentraland or something, right? Or whatever.
Exactly.
That's so cool.
Exactly. I just think it's crazy, man. And also I feel you on the moving. I moved to this spot in December, and we just moved across town. It wasn't even across the country, but it's just such a pain. And I would love to be more mobile. And even since NFTs have come out, I'm starting to look around and be okay, what am I willing to just get rid of physically because I don't need it, And I think like you mentioned how so much art just sits in a flat file. We'll kind of pivot back to cards, guys, because I know that's what you guys kind of came for. But that's the same thing. Cards sit in binders, and even myself, I do collect baseball cards, but there's 5 of them on my desk at any given time, and then everything else is it's in boxes and binders that are in my office. That I
have this cool binder of my old garbage pail kids.
Yes, dude, let's see some of those.
This is the first 4 series.
Amazing.
Let me see if I can do it this way. Maybe this way. These are the ones that I actually have.
Hold on. If I take myself off, we're going to give you the full screen for just a second, and then I'll pop out.
All right. So here's. Oh wait, let me go this way. Here we go. Yeah, these are the ones that I bought when I was in 1984, 5, 6. I don't remember how old I was. 3rd grade about. And some of them are missing because they were in old photo albums that I had to peel out basically. So they're not in good shape. Here you can see there's rips on them and stuff. But they're mine. and I love them. And I even have some the packaging that they came in. That's old. But yeah, there you go. I love garbage.
Dude, that's sick. So, so that era, like early 80s to early 90s, in the baseball card world is referred to as the junk wax era because baseball cards got popular, and then, companies were like, okay, we can just print it's like printing money. So they just overprint, they printed millions and millions and millions of cards for like that decade. And so people would, open a pack, and then they'd get like the Ken Griffey Jr. Upper Deck card, rookie. And they'd be like, oh my God, I got a Ken Griffey Jr. And then they come to realize like, it's like one of the most common rookies, a star player.
It was still so cool to get though.
No, it totally was. But my point is that I don't know if there was a junk wax kind of era, if that spilled over to properties like GPK, or if those might have still been really niche products at the time. And that might've been a much more limited release. Like that could be a nice little,
I mean, I think the first few series, like I've looked for them on eBay and stuff just to kind of be like, oh, I should just like see what's up. The first few series they're like thousands of dollars now. Like it's pretty crazy. But I think the later series, there was definitely an overabundance of them when I was younger.
Yeah. Yeah. Awesome. All right. I know these guys want to hear a little more about some baseball stuff, and then I'll let you, I don't know if you have any time constraints.
No, I might have to plug my computer in a little bit before it dies, but other than that, I'm good.
Great. Because these guys are diehards and they're
I want to talk. I want to talk about whatever anybody wants to talk about. I'm totally open.
So we'll let you guys keep sending some questions. I'm curious on, so you weren't a huge like baseball. It's not like you grew up like loving baseball and collecting those baseball cards, right?
Well, I mean, I collected baseball cards from 1985 to 1991, maybe like diehard.
Yeah,
Like I actually don't at the time. I don't know why I loved them so much. I mean, I really liked baseball.
Mm-hmm.
I liked going to baseball games with my dad. I liked it. I played baseball, but I was so bad. I was like embarrassingly bad, and it always bummed me out how bad I was. And I think that maybe that's one of the reasons why I kind of like stopped being into it too much, because I was like, this hurts too bad.
Yeah. Yeah, no, I get that. So I guess from that time that you were collecting, did that inspire your player selections?
Oh yeah. So it was a mixture. We were working with with the MLB on who we could use and who was available and working with Topps and I did there was some players that I really did want. I can't confirm whether I got them or not, but like Ricky Henderson, I would have killed for. So like there's some old Bay Area players that I really, really wanted. And then it was more so like I didn't want to just be like, hey, Topps, pick for me because I don't know what I'm doing. I was like, this is my job. So I like went in and I was like, I'm going to watch some footage of like players from the last decade and see what's up, see what's cool and see what's going on. And during that research is actually when I found Acuna, and I was just like, I wanted my first card to be somebody that was like energetic and cool and seemed fun. And like all these video clips that I watched would be like, he's smiling and running around. He's got those cool glasses. And I was just like, this is my guy. So I want that guy. And then, so it's kind of just like, I don't even know if the people that I picked are like necessarily good. I just picked who I felt energy from and who I liked.
That's awesome. We had a good suggestion here. Tim Sternberg says, I hope Alex Pardee does the Polar Bear Pete Alonso. So Pete Alonso has a nickname that's Polar Bear.
Okay.
And I do feel like that crossover for your style, like a bright mare Polar Bear could be kind of fun.
Dude, oh my God. I'm going to sound like such like a jerk for forgetting this, but do you remember there was a San Francisco Giant that had the nickname Panda?
Yes. Oh my gosh, my dad is in it. God, I'm
totally forgetting the name, but I did a shirt design for Panda, and it was cool. It said Pandemonium.
Yeah. Oh, sick. Pedro Sandoval.
Yes.
Or Pablo Sandoval. Sorry.
Pablo Sandoval. Yeah.
Yeah. That's cool. Is he going to be in your set, or can you not say?
I can't say.
Okay, we'll take that as a maybe.
We'll take that as a me trying to cycle through what's in my list right now.
Yeah. That's cool, man. Yeah, I mean, me too. Like, growing up in the Bay, we had season tickets to the Oakland A's, so I grew up like Mark McGuire, Jose Canseco. So Mark McGuire's in my set. People saw me paint Buster Posey.
Nice.
He's a teammate of Pandas. I'm really bad at keeping secrets, and especially when I get excited about stuff. So like if people have watched all of my streams, they probably know like half of my players already. And they've also seen all 4 of my cards if they've really been paying attention, because they've been not unintentionally, like sometimes I'll be like, oh, check out this, and then I'll accidentally have something there. So I don't know. But I love the mystery of it, and I am so hyped. So you're next, I think 25th, you said?
25th is when my next card comes out. Yeah.
Sick.
And I'll be excited to see if you guys are into it or not. I mean, the good thing is that if you're not, I got 18 more chances after that to get you back.
That's right, man. You're going to I think the audience is only going to grow. Did you have any expectations coming into the project of like what would make it a success for you?
0.
No, it's good.
I mean, it was already a success to be picked to do it.
Mm-hmm.
So like, I was just kind of like, I was like, this can only get better. Like, I don't want to say I had low expectations for myself, because I knew I wanted to like do the best that I could, but I was just like, I can't control how other people are going to perceive. Like, I've never ever approached art with the idea of like, I don't want to say caring what people think, because I do care. I mean, I'm a business as well. So I do, that is there, but also like, I don't ever really want to compromise what I want to do, thinking that like people will like it or not. It's just kind of like, I'd rather them not like it and tell me they don't like it than.
Yeah. How about I saw someone mention the Topps wrappers. So for anybody that doesn't know, so all of us artists, we get to pick 18 players and then 2 of the actual wrapper packaging that Topps had over the 70 years.
Yeah, I was wondering actually. I should ask you, like, was that something they did last year too?
It's not. That's totally new, and I think that with that, like, they own the IP outright, and so they don't have to get any clearance from MLB. And so I think what we're going to see is like some people can go really crazy with the wrappers cards, and then also like merch, like DJ Ski did some Topps merch recently, and it's my understanding, I think that we all can. I don't know if it's just based on the wrappers designs or whatever, but
so are the wrappers going to be actual wax
card?
Oh, it's a card.
No, I think it's going to be, yeah. I mean, they're going to like print it as if like it
were
a
okay,
card.
Okay, gotcha.
Something. I think. I don't know that for sure, but I guess when the first one is released, we'll see. That's a good question from LeBron2326. How did Topps find you, Alex?
So I actually don't know how Topps found me, but I know that I've worked in the same genre as a lot of my contemporaries. There's a lot of, I have some friends in there, Crayola and Risk and some people that like I've kind of been in the same circle with.
Cool.
But yeah, I'm not sure. I just got a phone call and was very excited to be a part of it, and was just like, awesome. All right.
Yeah.
I kind of like, I didn't want to ask questions. I felt like if I asked them how they found me, they'd be like, oh, maybe we got the wrong person.
Right. Yeah. Just smile and nod. Excuse me. Okay. So you knew Risk, you knew Crayola. Is there anybody else in the project that, that you're excited to see their cards, or you've been following or anything like that?
I mean, like Morning Breath, I've been working with and friends with for years. Like they're from the Bay. They're really inspirational for me way back, even when Doug was doing graffiti in the Bay. And
cool.
I actually was really excited to see. I was excited about Action Bronson. I love his painting. Mm-hmm. His paintings are so sick. I love those things. So I was excited to see. I hope he does go more into like the paintings. I don't mind, obviously, when people just are doing experimenting with graphic design and having fun. But me personally, I was like, I want to see like a weird ass painting that he does.
That's another good one from Zach Scott saying, hope we see some more mascots. It would be really fun to do a whole mascot card set.
Yeah, I actually was trying to kind of like pitch that a little bit and I don't know how far it got, but I'll see if I can keep pushing it because I would.
Oh,
that's like
I mean, you could have your own standalone mascot set. I feel like that would just do so well.
Yeah, that's kind of like one of the things that I really wanted to do, and who knows, maybe I'll be able to push them to like let me do a few extra or something.
Well, I'll tell you what. You know, you're holding the record right now for PRs, and Topps is a money motivated company. I'll tell you, it's gonna allow you more freedoms and more flexibility and more future projects. So while they probably won't add extra cards onto your 20 from this set, if you have like, and I'm confident this will happen, like when your next few cards come out and they're consistently strong PRs, strong art, that's the time that you could start talking to Topps and say, okay, let's think about the next project. I guarantee, like, I'm certain they would give you your own set of mascots. I would do that in a heartbeat. I'm very close to Jeff.
Put in a good word for me.
I will. No, I will call him and be like, you guys need to do this because I think it'd be so much fun. It would suit your style so well.
Hold on, let me get my dog.
Yeah.
Hey.
KBO asked if we can do a dual team card if they wanted, a Lou Brock as a Cub and a Cardinal. That is a great question. I don't know if we're allowed to do that or not. Opening day mascot insert set, that'd be so sick.
Yeah, it'd be cool. Are you doing any, or you don't have to talk about like, do you know if some of the artists are doing like more specialized cards, like team cards, or?
I don't know, man. I mean, I thought it was cool to see Mr. Cartoon's first card was the manager card of Tony Lasorda or something like that.
Yeah.
That's cool. Let's see here. You know who else I really like? There's so many people, but Ron English. I think his work is amazing.
Yeah, I was so curious. Dude, was that first card that he did? Was that a sculpture in a photo, or because he paints really realistic too? So
correct. I don't know. Honestly, I saw it and I was a little bit confused. And I feel like, again, like once we start to see multiple cards from an artist, I think this set will take shape.
Makes sense. Yeah.
So I mean, I enjoyed the card. I bought it, and I'm trying to only buy the cards that I really get joy from. Versus last year, I bought every single card.
Nice.
Which was expensive, and now it's sitting in a box. I wish it was all digital collection. But yeah, I'm a huge fan of his work, and I'm really curious to see how his kind of set develops. Same with Risk, I think is awesome. I've never met him, but we have a lot of mutual friends in LA. You know Gregory Siff? He's in LA.
No, I don't.
Okay, he's great.
I mean, I know who he is, but no, I don't know him.
Sure. Yeah, he's like such a cool dude. He's awesome.
What's been really cool is the amount of support that each of the artists is giving online and Twitter and sharing each other and just high-fiving each other and fire emoji.
Yeah. No, I drop the fire emojis on Instagram all the time. It is great. I think that and that was like something that was unexpected for me last time around. Is like I looked at it as, okay, well, like for my resume as an artist, this is really cool. And then B, from a financial perspective, like having a consistent income and make money for the whole year, whether it's a lot or a little, was a huge perk. But I didn't know that like connecting with other artists was going to be such an important and like meaningful part of the project. I've developed friendships of guys like Greg and I talk all the time. I had been a fan of his work for years and like just hadn't ever talked to him. And then through the project, I got to know him, and now like we're homies, which is just such a cool thing.
We're friends now, which I like.
I know, me too, man. I'm so excited that you said yes. Kevin, shout out to Big Kev. He was the one that suggested on Twitter. I think I had shared an article about your card. And then he said like, dude, you got to get him on the stream. And then I was like, oh, that's a great idea. And I reached out and here we are, which is rad. Yeah.
How often do you stream 3 times a week, you said?
I do. Yeah. I started doing it last year with the project, and it really was like one time I was working on my Ricky Henderson card and I streamed it live, and everyone's like, you got to do this all the time. And so then I actually was streaming 7 days a week last year for about probably 3 or 4 months. And then I was like, okay, now Monday through Friday. Then I've scaled it back, which is way more manageable. It was a lot to do every single night. And they'd be long, like, they'd be 2-3 hours sometimes, especially if I'm painting, because I'll just turn the camera on and then just do my thing. How about outside of Topps? So do you have any projects that you can tell us about that you're excited to have coming up, or
I've been working on my first like major solo art gallery show. Not my first, but my first in like almost a decade. Like I kind of took a sidetrack from doing bigger art shows, and it was actually originally supposed to be in October of last year, and then we moved it to early in the year. We moved it to December, thinking it was going to be better, and then when December came, it was just like they wanted to move it to January, and I was just like, no, we're just moving it to like, I don't know, summertime or something.
Sure.
Right?
So
I've been I was gung-ho on that late last year, but then I kind of like took a sidestep to kind of work on the Topps thing for a little bit. So I got to jump back into, I'm juggling both Topps and the solo show. And I'm also working on another, every few years I get this itch to convince myself that I can pitch a cartoon. So I'm doing that again.
Yeah.
And, we'll see how that goes, but I'm working on that too. So
I love it. I love it. Octavio asked, how do I get a teeth shirt? So you have shirts on your, so I have the link. There's a Linktree link below this video that has all of Alex's links. And one of them, what do they click? I think they have to click art and then they click shop.
If it goes directly to my website, but also on my Linktree, there's just one directly to my shop.
Okay.
But,
great.
It's just alexpardee.com is my name, and then you can go to shop, and I got stuff.
Yeah. Somebody else asked if you do commissions.
I have in the past. It's mainly just like I stopped doing them once I started feeling so guilty for being so late on them. You know, it's really hard. I think that the thing about commissions is that I'm so grateful for somebody to want to pay me to do something, and then simultaneously they're very grateful and respectful. So they're the one person in my life that doesn't yell at me. Right. And so therefore, because of that, it gets pushed, right? Like if I'm on a deadline from a client job or a project, I'll get yelled at. And then like this nice person who offered to pay me money to paint something is not yelling at me. So I just kind of can't do that for a while.
Yeah, that makes sense. This is a question that's come up a few times, and definitely something I want to talk about is, are you planning on doing autographs on your own cards and or companion cards?
I don't know. I don't know. I saw that you guys were doing them, or somebody was doing them last year, but I don't think I'm locked into really understanding that.
Okay. I'll give you a suggestion. I would highly suggest that you do it. But if you don't want it to become overwhelming and crazy, I would just do it in a very limited fashion. And that's coming from someone that started kind of small. And then with the bubble, I mean, there were cards where I had 800 autographs or something. And some of them are still inventory and they're sitting in a box over there. And so now I've scaled that weight back down and doing a much more manageable amount of autographs. So for example, for my Kutch card, I'll do like a 1-of-1 gold autograph. I'll do 3 silver autographs, and I'll do 22 of a color. I don't know what color.
And so you the pen that you use is gold or silver, and then another color. Oh, that's awesome.
Yep.
That's cool.
Yeah. And so let's see. Do we have? Oh, here we go. Okay. So like, yeah, here are some that were like just signed. So like, here's one that's signed in gold. Oops. Kind of hard to. More gold.
You froze up a little bit. I'll wait. There you go.
Oh, okay. So yeah, so like, there's like gold, gold autograph and blue autograph
color.
And then
those are so cool. That design on those cards is so rad.
Thank you. Yeah. So this was essentially like 3 or 4 cards into Project 2020. I was doing well, and so I went to Topps and said like, I want to do a set of my own set, and they're like, okay. And we started talking about this set probably in like May or June of last year, and then it launched in January. So that's why like I'm confident soon you could probably start that discussion with them.
Nice.
So I think that it will be really good for you for a few reasons. It is an insane revenue source. Oh, you got to get your puppers?
No, I just my My girlfriend never works late, but she's
Yeah.
working late, and my dog can't handle it. So
You can bring him in. He can come party with us if you want.
yeah. You're good.
This is awesome, guys. Keep the questions coming. I'm definitely stoked to talk about the autograph stuff. I'm going to try and convince him to do companions too. We'll see. Because his companions would just be so sick. Let's see here. Somebody asked if I still sign my Project 2020 cards if I want to get a Ricky auto. Yes, I do. But we have a small fee for mail-in cards, $20 for the base. Okay, so autographs, right? So one of the perks, is you can make more money from autographs than you probably can from royalties. And your royalties are going to be good, right? So I don't know what percentage you got, but I know if I had a print run of 14,000, my percentage, which probably is the same as yours, is like, it's a nice little paycheck, right? You would basically probably double that or more for every single card if you do the autographs. I think you have the market for it. People are going to want to buy it. You already have the shop. You have the tech set up, right? You have your shop. Mm-hmm. It's just a matter of, well, first of all, you need to buy your own cards, and you need to buy more than you think. How many Acuñas did you buy?
I bought 50.
Okay, that's pretty good.
It was like my first one, and I was just like, I want them for like, I don't know.
Yeah, I'll tell you. You're probably going to want more. You're probably going to want more.
I should have told you that I bought 14,500.
Yeah, that'd be great. I know that's not true because I bought 5. Yeah, I mean, I think like first of all, I would absolutely buy an Acuña autograph by you, and unlike for me because I'm an artist, I would rather have that card signed by you than Acuña, but that's just me. But I also would be really interested in companion cards, and so companion cards are basically just a baseball card that you make. That isn't, so that wouldn't have a player or a team logo on it, but this is perfect for what you're doing is like, you could draw that Acuña character you just did, but you could do him in street clothes and that could be the companion or something like that. Or it could be completely different. You could draw you could draw anything. And if you want to do either of those, I'm going to send you a follow-up offline or off stream with a few things. And I'll send you like my suggesting price breakdown and like kind of numbering and like offering for autos just to like I said, like kind of learn from my mistakes. And then the other thing is in terms of companion cards, I'm happy to connect you with companies that can produce them. Although you probably have that because I've seen.
I actually don't. So
really, okay. I saw like, dude, your silk screen, that like how to make a T-shirt video with like on the voice. That was so funny.
Oh, nice. Yeah, the apparel stuff I have kind of down, but anything else is still up in the air.
Yeah. Well, I would. In fact, I kind of want to look. Okay, so like right now on eBay, let's see here, Pardee, Acuña.
Oh, come say hi to the stream. Come here.
Yeah.
Come here. He's normally not as annoying as he was. He just kind of he's been cooped up. This is Harvey. Harvey the dog.
Hi, Harvey.
He's very sweet.
Awesome. Yeah, he's cute. Okay, so your Acuña card right now, I'm just looking at eBay, is like $50, $62, $60, $55, $75. That's crazy that it's already like double, tripled from the retail in a matter of weeks. Yeah. And also like these cards are not in hand. A lot of these say pre-sale. So like once people start getting the cards in hand and then they can sell an eBay listing where they're holding it that can show people like I have this, people usually that price will even go up a little bit more.
That gold one. How do we know who got the gold one?
So you won't know until somebody posts it, and hopefully they do. And hopefully it's in your 50.
Yeah, I know, right? That wouldn't look rigged at all, right?
It's okay. I pulled 2 golds total.
Oh, really?
20, but I was buying, at the peak of my Trout card, I bought 1,500 of them.
Wow.
And so, but also like, I'm glad that I did because these are like a business card on steroids, right? It's like a really cool thing. And like, now I have thousands of cards, and a lot of them I'm probably just going to like give away to new fans, right? If they missed out on my early cards, I can try and help them get up with a lot of them. I think the companions, if you have the time and bandwidth and desire to do it, I think it will at least 2x the revenue that this Topps project brings you. Awesome. And it also, like, I mean, they're going to sell out. You would sell out your autos within an hour, I would guess. Like, I don't think that you could put up enough autos that wouldn't just sell out within an hour. The shipping, the actual physically, like taking the sticker off, taking the case, signing the card, usually flipping the card and putting a number on the back, and then you're recasing it, put a new sticker on. Like, that process takes time, and so that's why I said, like, don't go too crazy and do like hundreds. But if you did some relatively small additions, I think it would be really good for you. And it also, because then like if I buy your autograph, and by the way, I ordered one of the prints today. I got the Guilty Smurf, which I'm very excited about.
Oh man, thank you.
But I'm excited to get the Acuna card. And like, if I had an Acuna that was signed by you, it would make me feel like I have this extra connection to you. I think that especially if I know, like, hey, there's only 50 of these and I have one of them, because 14,000 people have the card that's not signed, but I've got the one that's signed. Like, to me, that's special. But I'm also a collector, and right. I think a lot of people think like this, and it could just, it's good. It's another revenue stream, and I think it's a good way to connect with the fans. And then the companions, like, you could just have so much fun with. I feel like, it'd be amazing.
Yeah, I'm excited about just kind of like learning and growing with this, because it's already a couple weeks into it, and I'm meeting you and meeting new people. It's cool. It's a good learning experience. So
yeah, absolutely, man. Well, this has been awesome. I really appreciate you coming and spending your Friday with us. I don't want to keep you too. I feel like we've done a pretty good job covering most things. Is there anything else that you want to tell the fans that they might not know about you, or I don't know?
No, I mean, I'm more than willing to answer any questions, but I don't know what's missing. Oh, you know what I do? Oh, I have this. I got this.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Do we have
since this is a cool trading card podcast, I have these that I've been waiting for a special occasion to open on stream. Growing pains.
Yes.
Yeah. So should we do an unboxing and
absolutely
see if we can get a Mike Seaver or something?
Let's do it.
All right, let's see. So here we go. I don't have any of these other ones, so I don't even know what they look like, but
nice.
We'll start with the gum is still intact a little bit. There's half of it.
Half a gum.
I bought RoboCop 2 cards a few years ago, and I tried to eat the gum that was in them from 1994. Worst experience of my life.
Yeah,
so.
Yeah, Andy just ate gum he just did that like a couple years ago.
So here we go. They look just like dude, look at the frame. The frame is a house.
Here, I'm gonna give you back the full screen again for 1 second. All right, and
right off the bat, we got a Mike Seaver card with the frame is the house with the antenna. That's weird. What does it say? This is not a treasure map. It's directions to New Jersey. This is your card. All right. Let's see. What do we got here? So these are just like scenes from the show. This is such a weird thing that people would collect. I think this is part of what you were talking about with the Topps just like printing whatever. But this is a good one. This is my full on Mike Seaver in this oversized outfit, oversized suit. That's really good. It's my new look, Miami Nice, he says. And then, okay, so I think that this whole deck is just Mike Seaver cards. It's not even family or not even Growing Pains cards. There's a Mike Seaver sticker with a pretty sick yellow stroke around it. The rest of these are pretty much just nothing but different Mike Seaver scenes. So,
I love it.
Wait, is this? I genuinely can't tell if this is Mike Seaver, but it looks like it is. It might be Tracy Gold, but anyways. Yeah. So, well, there you go. That was the unboxing section of the podcast.
I love it. I love that.
So,
I have some like vintage packs of just random. I have like some old like Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtle cards, Indiana Jones cards, Marilyn Monroe. I was at like this, I guess like kind of like a flea market, and they had like sealed boxes for like $20.
Yeah, I love trading. I just like seeing them. Like, I I love seeing boxes of trading cards from the back in the day. It's so cool.
Yeah. Tim, by the way, you're saying you got your auto in 1951. It didn't win the Griffey. The Griffey's going to send separately, and I think only 2 people bought it. So we actually do need to pick that winner and send that out. So you have, I think, a 50% chance. You might actually have a 100% chance if only one person bought that card.
100% chance is pretty good.
I like those odds. Yeah, that's awesome. Somebody else. Oh, actually, it was Tim also that asked earlier. Have you? How many cards have you completed? Just the Acuna, or are you kind of ahead of the game? Nice.
I'm way behind.
Oh,
but also like I don't want to like, one of the biggest things that I was kind of like conscious about was that I didn't want to like try to knock them all out, because I felt like I'd put so much energy into the first couple and then get like kind of like lazier. No, I mean, I never would do anything totally half-assed, but
right.
You know, when you're doing something over and over, you just want to get it done. So yep. I really want to space them out, and so I'm doing them 3 at a time.
Nice. That's awesome. And I loved like watching the process. You know, looked like you started just on paper, sketching it out, took a picture with your iPad, and then kind of transferred it over and went and then really went crazy with it.
The sketching aspect is way longer than that 90-second video showed. But
yeah, of course.
Because I'm like a maniac. I'm just like, this isn't right. But that's why the iPad comes such in handy, because I can scribble like the most basic thumbnail, and then when it's in the iPad, I can just go over and over and over and over.
Yeah. Are you doing that on your iPad in like Procreate?
Yeah.
Cool. Yeah. I got an iPad pretty recently. I would like to start doing digital. I do everything analog, but you know, now moving over to digital is important to me.
Yeah, I'm about half and half, but it's hey, stop that.
Yeah. Somebody asked, what do you do with all the sketches you make?
They're
flat file, I guess.
And just drawers of garbage. Yeah. Drawers of like what somebody will uncover later on and be like, what's this? And then throw it away. And I'll be like, why did I even keep it this whole time?
Yeah, for sure. Well, I'm sure there's a lot of people that would appreciate that. Let's see here. This is a good one. What is your most creative time to draw or paint?
I think it changes. It kind of just depends on like, it used to be nighttime. It used to be like my most creative time would be like after dinner until like 3 a.m. But after doing that for 20 years, I'm starting to get older and my body shuts down, and I'm just like, I can't do that. So I have to be really, really adamant as far as the last few years, or I guess only the last couple of years. I got my gallbladder removed because my gallbladder shut down and I had all this digestive problems. So I got my gallbladder removed, and then just to kind of straighten out my stress in my life, I was like, I have to get on a schedule. So we try to go to bed by like midnight, wake up about 6 or 7, and then, you know, work. So I'm kind of like forced myself to be more creative throughout the day now.
Nice. Yeah, I fluctuate. I feel like I do my best creative work at night, usually 10 p.m. to 2 a.m., which is actually exactly why I scheduled this stream at 10:23 every night, because that's kind of in the window when I.
Does the 23 have any significance?
So it's my favorite number, and it also is more memorable, I think, than like 10 o'clock.
I mean, I was stoked to tell people about it.
Yeah, no, I think it's fun. Like, it's also funny because I'm like almost always like a minute or two late. But usually, and I used to do this with meetings, is I would schedule meetings with people at like weird times, because like if I tell you, hey, we're gonna jump on a phone call at 3:15, that might be 3:20, 3:30. But if I tell you like, hey, let's talk at 3:13, people are always like, what? Okay, and like people are never late.
Yeah, they remember that specific thing.
Yeah, exactly.
That's a good tactic.
Yeah. So I don't know, it's just a fun thing, and then it stuck. Somebody had a really good idea saying the Acuna sketch would be really cool for someone's collection. And so that actually could be like, this would be nuts. I feel like people would go crazy over this. So if you did autos and then you said one random person is going to get this, 8x10 sketch, which is the 1.0 version of this Acuna card, people would go insane.
Or you could collected all 20 of my sketches, and then at the end said one person gets all 20. No, I'm just kidding.
Yeah, I mean, anything like that. So I think that like you also could say, hey, if you buy my gold 1-of-1 autograph for $2,000, I'll give you the sketch, or whatever price you decide. But yeah, it's a good point. God, it's such a cool card. I'm staring at it. I'm looking at it. Got it still pulled up on it. So I can't wait. I also love the what was that? Was it 1990 or 1991? The year
1990. Yeah,
1990. Yeah, it's I have that design too.
Also, I can actually give a hint on my next card.
Great.
Because it's a coincidence. So we were supposed to do different years for every card, but there was like a crossover where it was like, well, you have to do all these, but then like you can pick a couple extra random ones, and the extra ones that I picked were a sequence. So it just so happens that my first 2 cards are both 1990.
Oh wow.
Yeah.
That's kind of cool.
It just coincidentally worked out that way that on their release schedule that my first 2 releases happen to be the 1991. So then but then all the rest of them will be different.
Yeah. Nice. Yeah, I think all mine are different. But I'm excited about the 90 because that border was like so cool and colorful and just like so much fun.
It also was like kind of like the hardest to stay true to. I feel it wasn't the hardest to like be inspired by, but in the way that I'm kind of approaching the project is like I want to try to, without compromising what I'm doing, I want to really try to recreate what the card actually looked like, right? Like with a little subtle flares and stuff, but so that one had this weird halftone pattern on all around the edges that I had to try to figure out how to do, and how I can get the subtle just color variance in it, and so that one was really fun, a fun challenge to do.
Yeah, one thing that's cool. So last year I did, like I said, I painted smaller, and all I did was I painted the portrait, and then I took a photo, and then I put that in Photoshop, and then everything else, I added the borders, I added the team name, I did that, and mostly I just stuck true to like whatever the original card was. I literally just like used that same Mets logo, the same border. This year I've changed where like every part of it I'm painting, and for this, something like this is pretty straightforward, black border. Yeah. But for the 1990 card, I'm going to have to do that all.
Oh yeah.
So I have some pretty cool like halftone stencils that I think are going to work. It's definitely going to be like an experiment. Just fun. I also think it's cool. Like the collectors can collect like all of the 1990 cards from this set.
Right. Totally.
And that would be one way.
Now you have this cool 1990 set. Yeah.
Right. That's really fascinating to me. And in fact, maybe I'll try and jump on that. I got to pick a year that I really like. I really like some of the old vintage stuff. I don't know. I just even like like that one was the 1951.
Well, the one you just did, the cut was in 1959, right?
Right. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. I love that design.
That also worked out really good because I kind of planned it. I specifically requested for that card to go first because I had a Bob Gibson 1959 card that was my last card of Project 20. So I wanted a seamless transition. So if people are like displaying all my cards, it's going to be like, kind of like blends, I guess, which is kind of fun. Let's see if we got any other questions. Octavia was asking where in Florida were you? I said you were in California.
Orlando.
You were in Orlando, but now he's in.
Now I'm in Los Angeles.
Now he's in LA. Yeah, I think. Let's see here. Oh, you know what? One other thing is like your logo. I think that like, yes, like that one, the rainbow in the teeth. That is like the coolest. I feel like visual representation of Brightmares, right? You got the kind of scary, but then you got the rainbow that's fun and like light. When did you come up with that? Like, has that been your thing for a long time? I guess in terms of like that logo and then kind of like the Brightmares.
No, the name and the logo, Brightmares and the logo came pretty much at the same exact time because which wasn't too long ago. It was maybe 2015 or 2016. And up until that point, it was just always really hard for me to describe my style of artwork. It's like,
sure.
I would just kind of like ramble on. Like people would be like, well, what is your stuff like? Like, what do you paint? And I'd be like, I don't know. I paint like bright colors, but like there's also monsters and like it's kind of like scary, but also funny. And I don't know, like confusing and stuff. But like then when I figured out the word, I was just like, oh, I paint like bright nightmare. It's like a bright mare. Like that to me, like if I say that encapsulates it more, than anything else.
Yeah. No, I think it's it's the most succinct way that I could have your work described, I think, which is always really cool. And I just think the logo is so good. And it also I also really appreciate logos that like scale really well, that that looks awesome, huge on a t-shirt. It also looks good on like a tiny enamel pin, which I think is really cool. We have another question from Blake G, and he's
Blake G still hanging in there.
He's still here, man. He's wondering who your favorite team and player are.
I think that my favorite team, and I'm going by what I was obsessed with when I was younger. My favorite team, Oakland A's. My favorite player was Ricky Henderson growing up. I mean, it was
nice,
pretty much a no-brainer. I was an A's fan, but I would die for Ricky Henderson.
Yeah, I love Ricky.
I mean, I was a Bash Brothers fan. I was a pretty big A's fan when I was younger.
Yeah, that's awesome. Todd Clark asks, favorite childhood cartoon. That's a good one.
Oh, probably He-Man.
Ooh, nice.
Yeah, I would say off the top of my head, childhood cartoon is probably He-Man. I loved it more than anything.
Yeah.
It's really hard to rewatch now, not because it's bad, but because when I was younger, I didn't realize that it'll drive you crazy if you watch it now. The basically like the 2-bar theme repeats over and over. It's just like dun 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 dun, like the entire show.
Wow.
And it's so hard to watch, but
wow, that's funny. Let's see here. Thundercats, that was another good one.
Yeah, I like Thundercats. I like so many cartoons. My favorite cartoon of all time is probably Aqua Teen Hunger Force, though.
Oh, that's a good one. Yeah, for sure. Let's see here. That's kind of funny. I didn't know that happens. Ricky went to a city college speech class in Oakland to practice his Hall of Fame speech.
Oh, really? That's bad.
I didn't know that. That's really cool. Let's see. What about so are you like a Dodgers fan now, or still A's?
By default, I think you kind of can't really live in a city that has such a loyal fan base without kind of just agreeing with it. That the first time that happened was I moved to Sacramento, and I was kind of like a halfway basketball fan, but didn't have any favorites. Sure, and I moved to Sacramento, and it was like a travesty that I didn't say that I loved the Kings more than anything. And so by the time I lived there for a couple of years, and by the time I was gone, I was diehard, going to the stadium all the time, whatever, we're dressing in purple.
What year? When was that? Because I spent 3 or 4 years in Sacramento area.
That was 2000 to 2003, I think.
Okay, yeah, a little before I was there. I went to school at UC Davis, which is not too far from there, and then was in Sacramento area for a few years after that. Oh, that's a good one. Do you ever put secret images or designs, like kind of Easter eggs?
Not really. Not because, I just I would obviously love that, but I don't think that I really think that far into it in the design process. Sometimes I'll put stuff in there that only I'll notice, but it's not like an Easter egg. It's not it's something that I'll be proud of that nobody else will notice. I'll be
sure.
The cuticle on his fingernail took me an hour, and it's really cool, just so you know.
Yeah. Man, the card fans do love their Easter eggs too.
I should. It's good that I still have 17 more cards to design, because I should think about that.
Yeah, I think people would enjoy it. I liked what was it? Was it Bobby Hundreds that did the error card?
Mm-hmm. One,
yeah. So it was cool, because then I didn't realize till after he posted about it. He's there's 9 errors that you can find. Try and find them all. And it's he has 6 fingers on one hand, and he's got there's all these different things that
really subtle.
It reminds me of what was those little like Scholastic News
The highlights.
yeah, like how exactly like highlights where you go to the end, it's like what is what's different about this picture. I love those. Like going to like the dentist and stuff, those would always be like in the waiting room. That's great. Let's see here. Will he be inserting any HBK stuff? I don't actually know what HBK is. Do you?
I mean, I only know HBK is Heartbreak.
Oh, he said GPK. Oh, okay, correct.
Oh, Garbage Pail Kids. I mean, aside from the inspiration, like I think that there might be some cards down the road where I push that inspiration a little bit more blatantly. But once again, things have to go through Topps approval. So if they're like, this is 2 GPK now, I also kind of want to make.
They own GPK, so
well, right, but I mean, but like it's I also want to make it my like the thing about like being inspired by stuff is like my approach growing up. It was always like, oh, that would be really cool to like do something like Todd McFarlane or do something like Tim Burton or do something like this, but then it's like I don't want to do something like that. I'd rather do something on my own that gets to sit next to that, So like if like taking inspiration from Garbage Pail Kids is more like I want to soak in the spirit of that rather than just the blatant like, oh, make the banner look like this and look like But I mean, I might do that because it might fit a certain player or something,
Yeah. I mean, Chip says Topps will soon be begging you to do GPK, and I agree. I think that your style is so well suited. For that, which is really cool. Oh wow, Bobby Hundreds put himself in the card in the bleachers.
Oh, that's awesome.
That's amazing. It says it's a blurred out vision of him as a kid. That is really cool. That's a good question from Jesse. I know you discuss commissions, but do you ever sell original artwork?
Yeah, all the time. Most of the time it's through art shows. Art gallery shows and stuff. Occasionally I'll do kind of like pop-up gallery stuff with some kind of like stuff that not necessarily fits a whole collection. But and then occasionally I put stuff up on my website or but it's cool. Pretty hit or miss.
Yeah. And also Jesse, so there are a handful of prints available on Alex's site. I just bought one today. And I think they're very reasonably priced, which is always great.
That goes into my insert art in everybody's house rule.
Yeah, no, I love that. I think it's that's awesome. Let's see here. What else we got? We got that one. Maybe 100. Somebody asked if you're still a WWE fan.
I am, not as much. So that was actually one of the things that was so funny was like I moved to Florida and totally didn't realize this before I moved, but the WWE training center and headquarters is in Orlando. So so Orlando is like a wrestling city. So I had the opportunity, like I was kind of into wrestling when we moved over there, but I was just kind of like half-assed, like I followed it a ton in the 90s and then didn't really, and then kind of watched it occasionally and stuff. But then all of a sudden it was like we had the opportunities to go to like $10 house shows with like future WWE stars in a group of like 50 people in like a community centers. And so we were going to these like WWE like NXT shows every week for $10. And it was like, it was like amazing. Like the crowds were awesome. Like just like the energy was so cool. So I got super sucked into wrestling when I was there. And it was just like really, really fun. And then, next thing you know is like 6 months later, you see who you were watching 5 feet in front of you. You see him winning the belt on TV, and it's really cool. Wow. And then when I moved over here, I still follow it, and I'm still really interested in it. I like AEW a lot. I like there's one called GCW, Game Changer Wrestling, that I discovered when I was out here because I stumbled upon a GCW show, and it was fucking crazy. So I was like super stoked on that.
That's awesome. Yeah. I love it. I never really got into WWE. I had some friends that were really into it, but I don't know.
Yeah, it's cool. It really like it takes going to see it in person to really get the energy. Yeah. It's not quite the same on TV. But
Eric wants to know if you got to see the Queen. I assume that's a wrestler.
I did not.
And didn't get to see the Queen. Blake G had a recommendation for a card. He says, I think you should do a card where a trash can eats Jose Altuve. That's pretty funny. I don't know if that's a perfect idea, Blake. I don't know if the MLB would approve a trash can on an Astros card, but they might. Maybe sneak it in.
Trastros.
Yeah. What about Peanuts World asked if you ever saw Charlotte. I don't know who Charlotte.
I did actually see Charlotte.
Charlotte Flair.
Well, I didn't see Charlotte wrestle. I saw Charlotte like on the sidelines and stuff. There was a lot, like all the wrestlers would just be there. It was so cool.
Yeah, that's really cool.
But there was one thing. I don't know if anybody in the chat is following wrestling at the moment, but I have a photo of it and it's so awesome. I have a photo of Finn Balor literally breaking the roof of like jumping off the top rope and then going through the roof and the roof crumbling on him as it was so rad. And I have this awesome photo that's just him in the rafters, like breaking the roof. It's rad.
That's dope. I just remembered something. It was a video that I watched of yours earlier today that was ridiculous. Is you painting in Shia LaBeouf's house like for his birthday?
Oh yeah, he's a little problematic these days, right?
How did that come to be? What was the? I mean, that was.
I just broke into his house, man. I don't know what to say.
Yeah. Well, if you guys haven't seen it, you guys got it. If you look at Alex's YouTube channel, that's one of the videos, and it is he. Don't spoil it, but essentially he broke into Shia LaBeouf's house and then painted a rhino on his wall.
Painted a mural for him for his birthday, whether he wanted it or not.
That was hilarious. I would love if someone would break into my house and do a dope mural.
I'll do it.
I'll send you my address. Yeah, and then the birthday comment too is so funny. He's like, "It's not even my birthday." You're like, "It was." I have a birthday. Like it was good. That was kind of a while ago too. That was like what, 5 years ago or something?
Oh, that was probably more than 10 years ago now, maybe. Wow. When was he in trans? I'm trying to think. 2000. Yeah, I mean it was over 10 years ago.
Oh.
2008.
I really like him. I think he's great.
No, I do too. I have a problem with, recently there's been public issues about him mistreating women, and that bothers me. Got it.
I didn't know about any of that, which is not great.
Yeah, but I mean the dude can act like a madman, and he's very creative, and
yeah, for sure, he's a beast. That's cool. Are there any other like kind of collaborative projects or things that you've done that you're like really most proud of?
It sounds kind of like generic to say, but like I feel like every time I do something, it's like that's my favorite thing at the moment. Like right now, like my favorite project I've ever done is the Project70. Because I'm in the middle of it. I'm experiencing it. It's challenging. I'm getting it done. The reaction is good. The interaction is good. So it's just cool.
Yeah, it's perfect. Yeah, I mean, and that's cool to hear because, like, I mean, you've done some really cool stuff, like the Juxtapoz Halloween thing. Like, it's amazing, man. So that's it's fun.
Yeah, that was actually cool. Like, so I got to curate 2 full issues of Juxtapoz magazine, and that was really, really cool because that was basically they just gave me the keys to the magazine. So it was a shit ton of work, but it was, curating a whole list, reaching out to everybody. There was, a lot of people that I had to deal with, like couldn't do it or didn't want to, or, or we almost got, and then at the last minute, I think the imagination issue, I had a bunch of really weird, I really wanted to bring, a different type of art into that magazine because I wanted it to be focused on imagination and world building. And so I instead of just traditional artists, I brought in people like David Copperfield, who was used to build this whole big world of magic. And I brought in the Lonely Island, who I always looked at as having this whole huge imaginary parallel universe that they lived in. And one of the people that we had until the last minute was Robin Williams.
Oh,
and
cool.
it fell apart at the very last minute, and then sadly, pretty shortly after that, he passed away. But so it was fun. but doing those projects was so awesome.
Yeah. All right. Sounds like Blake G is finally turning it in. Blake, thank you, and Austin, thank you guys for tuning in. I will send Alex a link to your show. And also, someone else actually asked earlier are you in any of? There's a couple private Facebook groups about Topps Project 2020. Are you in any of those, or Project 70? Would you like to be?
I have Facebook because I use it for my business and stuff, but I rarely use it.
I hate Facebook, to be honest.
Yeah, I feel like there was a point where the interface changed, and I just can't figure it. I haven't given myself the time to get reacclimated, and so I just begrudgingly hate it.
Sure. Well, when I send you links to Blake's show, I'm going to send you a link to 2 different Facebook groups that I'm in, and there's thousands of people in them, and it's a great thing. So for example, if you did decide to do companion cards or autos, even if you don't use Facebook, you just go in and you say, hey, I don't use Facebook, but the autos are going up.
Sign me up. I'm a businessman.
Exactly. And those are going to sell out so fast. It's going to be ridiculous. What else? There was something else that I was supposed to send to you.
I think I wrote it down.
Yeah. All right. Think about it. I'm actually going to write myself.
No, I just wrote down Blake G's show.
Oh, okay. Okay. Maybe that was it. Okay. So send to Alex. So Blake G link, Facebook group links. Oh, you know what? Pricing structure, pricing and numbers for autos. And obviously, I mean, every artist is different. You can probably sell your autos for a lot more than I can, and you'll still sell out. But I will just kind of, I'll break down like how I started and then where I went, because everything was going crazy and like those mistakes that I made. And now like I've settled into like a good rhythm where I'm also like last year, the auto part of my business plus the Topps royalties was like, that was all of my income. And the autos even were like more than Topps. And so that was most important. So I was really pumping that a lot and like always being like, I just got to drop, make sure to get this before it sells out. This year, I'm a lot more just like, hey, autos are up. If you guys want, you guys know me, if you want them, cool. If not, it's not a big deal. Which it was fine. It's like more casual for me. Like last year, it was like the autos was the job. And now this year, it's like the autos are just one component, which I think is like a good approach. But I do think like, I mean, you could put, and just like, okay, let me just do some quick math. Okay. So if you, 100 cards maybe, and like, yeah, I mean, I think that you could probably sell your cards on average for like $200-300 each. And if you did 100 of them, which obviously you would have to go buy more cards because you only have 50. But if you did that, like that's $30,000 that like, I think you would make $30,000 in 15 minutes, which is a sentence I never thought I would like be able to just tell other artists and like believe it in confidence. But like, last year when the autos kicked off, me and Tyson Beck were the first people to do it. And then as soon as we saw some crazy success, that's actually how I connected with Gregory Siff originally. Is I hit him up. I was like, Greg, there's a huge opportunity. You can do these autographs. Here's kind of how I would lay it out. So like Gregory Siff, Ermsey, same way. Like he's so talented. I'm like, dude, do this. It'll make you money. And like those guys, I mean, Gregory Siff bought a house. Like literally like bought a house probably from like auto money. And then Ermsey at the time, at first he lives in France. He was just working from his apartment. He's like, I wish someday I want a studio. And then he like did the autos. And I was like, dude, you will get a studio like next week if you want. Like, now he has a space. So it's like
castle in France.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. I mean, basically. So, I'm not like, I'm not driven by money, but I also know that like, I want to make as much as I can, and I want to help other artists make as much as they can so that we can keep doing our art. And to me, that's like the important part. So I think it would be a good thing for the business. And same thing with companions, man. Like, okay, King Saladin, you know who that is? Mm-hmm. Okay, so he did his Bear Season companions, and he did them. So that's like his own character. It was like, it was kind of a companion card, but it wasn't tied to any specific Topps card. It was just like, if you have all my Topps cards, like this is the companion to get with it. And he did those where he printed 1,000 of them, and then he sold them for $99 each. So that's $100,000. And he sold out in one day. So, and he did it 4 times. I think he did 4 different bear seasons. I don't know if all of them sold out, but like that's an insane amount of money for creating one piece of art, right? He created that bear character and then he turned it into a card. He had to like get his printer to make them, but like it's awesome. It's insane. And between that,
I love that people are into cards again. It's cool.
Me too. Yeah. Do you do any digital GPK?
Do I collect them, you mean?
Yeah.
No, I haven't yet.
Well, I actually just I was sent Brian Gonzalez, shout out OMG Card Pulls if you're watching. Brian is super generous guy that I met through the stream, and he's like, oh, you want to see these GPK digital cards? And I was curious, so he sent me a pack, and then he sent me like 3 cards, and I opened the pack, and 2 of them I got were doubles. So like I'm happy to just like send them to you if you know it's an NFT basically.
Yeah, I was just gonna say I'll give you my wallet address.
Yeah, give me your wallet address. I'll shoot some of those over to you. I think they're fun, and like opening the pack was cool. I got like an.
It's gonna be a gateway to me though.
Yeah. Well, sorry. Gateway drug. Yeah, well, at least if you do autos or companions, you can finance those.
Right.
Which is fine. Yeah, Peanuts World. The only reason I'm into Topps is because of the artist. It's awesome. Tim S had my fanny pack. Oh yeah, that's another like this. It was so crazy last year. Like I released basically a companion fanny pack.
Oh, nice.
And it did it did very well.
Companion-y pack, yeah.
Yeah, companion-y pack, which is funny. So like, there's all these like nicknames basically that all of the people here with us tonight have kind of given themselves. So they're like, oh, we're the 1023 posse, or the fanny pack gang, or the Team Hot Plate. It's pretty great. That's dope, man. Well, again, thank you so much. I had a blast tonight. I'm pretty wiped, but anytime, holler anytime, text, email.
Yeah, I mean, we got all year for the project, so I'm sure I'll jump on again.
I'm certain you will too. And if you're ever in New York, open invitation. We have an office that could double as a guest bedroom. If you ever need to crash here, you're always welcome anytime.
I did an interview with Brian today. He said hi.
Oh, Brian Gonzalez.
Yeah,
Brian.
Wait, Brian. No.
Oh, different Brian.
My bad. I'm spacing on the name now.
That's okay.
Anyways, it was for MLB.
Oh, sick. Oh, okay. Yes. Oh God, I'm spacing on his name too right now. That's awesome, man. That's great that you're talking to MLB too. I'm so excited for your next cards and just to see this year, and the hobby has been like really embracing your art, which I love to see.
Brian Horowitz.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah, that's the same guy that I talked to with.
Okay.
And honestly, when the MLB article dropped, was a huge turning point for me. Is like in my art career, I think, and also the Project 2020. So like, it obviously helps move units, but it also does like Mark McGuire, who I grew up idolizing, saw the article and then like contacted me, and like now we're friends because of that article. So like a lot of cool things come out of that. So I'm excited to see what they're cooking up with you.
That's cool.
Yeah. Sweet, man. Well, thank you so much for joining us.
You guys hanging out too. Appreciate it.
Absolutely. If you guys want to check out more of Alec's stuff, there's a Linktree link right below this video. There's links to his shop where you can buy prints and merch, enamel pins, all kinds of stuff, and links to his NFTs. I also really liked the article that you wrote on Medium about like what is an NFT. I think that's a great resource.
Thank you.
And like I've bookmarked that to like send other people too, because people ask me all the time, and you have already done a good job like breaking it down in a conversational way.
Thanks.
Which I think is
awesome. That came after me having the same kind of conversation with people, and then also it helped me get an understanding of it in simpler terms. So
yeah, absolutely. Sweet, man. Well, thank you. Have a great night.
You too.
Yeah. We'll talk soon, man. Holler, I mean it. Holler anytime. I will follow up with those things probably tomorrow, and I'll send you the whole laundry list.
Sounds good.
Dope. All right, guys. Thank you guys for tuning in.
Okay. Have a good night.
Night. Stay awesome.